I'm trying to build a desert forest on 320 acres of wasteland, and in order to do that, I have a small fleet of equipment and 1.25 people. I'm a quarter, Daniel's a full-time employee. We have so many projects that we have to get done to even make the desert forest happen. This episode is the roadmap for 2026, all of the projects that we're trying to finish, in addition to all of the planting and watering and the things that need to happen to maintain the ranch. The biggest, most ambitious plan is the field, and it's currently half-baked. And the reason I say that is I have a water well drilling rig behind me. And in order for me to adequately plan the field, I need to know how much water am I going to have, and will I be able to irrigate and grow into a sustainable desert forest that doesn't rely on irrigation? Or do I have to pursue a floodwater strategy where we build all of the earthworks that we were originally planning to do, and that this whole area here is the field? There's camp. I'm standing on the flattest spot in the 320 acres that doesn't flood horribly. And the reason this is such an opportunity is because we can make quick work of it. It's relatively flat. It slopes quite a bit, but I can bring floodwaters off of 40 acres all into one location, which makes this an incredible opportunity, and it's doable with El Patron, my little bulldozer. But it's obviously very hard to rely on infrequent large floods. So if I get that water well dug and it has any meaningful supply of water, now the game changes, because we still want to grow desert trees. We're not making a pecan orchard or an alfalfa field. It's right next to camp. It embodies all of the lessons that I've learned from being out here. But it's hard to plan when you don't have something as fundamental as the water pinned down. So for now, the field is in limbo until that water well is drilled. And I hope that the next episode after this is the water well. I've been out here for a week. I'm really ready to get down to our target depth, mainly so I have water, but also because I really want to go home and see my family. But if for whatever reason the water comes up short, this is the key part of what would lead to the field, and Daniel walked it with me so we could better understand how to keep as much of the water up on the swale as possible, and so that we could plan for the future. What we want to do is we're going to start at a reference point, and then everything runs off that point.
Okay.
And I think the thing that makes the most sense is eventually we're going to want to connect swales. We're going to run a swale that'll go from here all the way down to where we have the BDAs.
Okay.
So we'll want to bring all of that water to this one point, give it a little bit of downhill room so that we're not fighting ourselves. And then our reference point will be the start of the field.
And just for my edification, we're not necessarily going to do like a completely flat field like you'd see on my way here from home.
It's better to think of this as a maze.
Okay.
Like, think of a maze with alleys that are, and I got to set the distance, but it's probably going to be like 40 or 60 feet.
Okay.
Instead of having a perfectly flat area, because what I want is trees and then grass, 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 trees, grass, grass, grass. Yeah. That way there's tons of mulch that can go on the tree lines. We're going to have to mark where the future swale will go, because we want the entirety of this hillside, the swale to run all the way through here, through here, through here, like run up this way, run over here, and connect
over here,
so that we have two completely different hillsides all collecting water to one spot. We want these swale systems to merge, but they're basically separate. And then we want all of this water to literally just go from here, back to here, back to here, and then we just build as much of it as we can. And instead of making one giant clearing, you just make your 10-foot strip one at a time.
Okay.
I want to show you the waffle cell on the mega swale.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is when people complain about me running the bulldozer, saying I'm tearing up the desert, and like that's 6 months later, and I've planted, like, none of those are seeds that I threw out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you
It's
look
like,
at a lot of the places that we've ran the dozer, and it's you know, there's more growth there now than it was there
yeah,
prior to us
like
doing that.
you give this 2 or 3 years and you're going to have, like, as soon as the perennials come in, this is going to have dramatically higher density than anywhere else on the ranch.
I
Just
mean,
gets tons of water.
case in point is the top terrace.
Yeah, where all the grass is.
That nothing has been planted because we just cleared it and that was it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about spreading giant saccaton on those because I don't see myself expanding agroforestry systems over there. And I think the best use of it would be just giant mulch supply. In case you guys are wondering what that is, that's the subsoiler, and that's the reason you see this trench and these big rocks, is it literally pulls all this stuff up. It's breaking up the clay in spots where we have the caliche. It's ripping it up, so like these chunks come right up.
And for anybody that's not been out here or not familiar with caliche, it's such a weird substance. It breaks easily, but it's just getting through it. It's man-made concrete.
You know, it's funny, on the dozer I was worried about how flat this is, and now that I actually see the walls and the banks and everything, I can tell that that's dramatically higher than the inner lip. That's probably going to be a natural waffle cell point right there, as I can tell it's already got a rise.
Yeah, well, this was a huge, this had a lot of caliche in it.
Yeah.
Like right over here.
Yeah,
So it kind of
worked itself out.
worked itself that way. And then the bad part is when we hit caliche with a lot of rocks in it, because that's hard to get through. It's unbelievably tough.
Thank you to David Protein for sponsoring this episode, because I eat these bars constantly. I've been on the ranch now for a full week in the beginning of May, and I know I've lost weight since I got here. I just don't know how much of that was water from making bad choices at home, or here, where married life and married cooking is not feeding poor choices. I lose weight faster, way faster out here. I know that combining David with better dietary choices and then working crazy hours, that I'm shedding pounds. My goal is to get to roughly 170, which should put me around 13% body fat. Right now I'm probably around 20, but we'll see when I get home. I'm really looking forward to seeing the results, but it wouldn't be possible without David, because those protein bars are so good. It's one of my favorite parts of the day when it comes to cuisine. You can just unwrap them, chow down, and enjoy some goodness and not feel guilty about it. Make sure you scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Get yourself David Protein bars. They're delicious. I proudly endorse them. If you're interested in a high protein diet and or losing weight, it's working for me. All right, so.
All right, waffle cell, correct?
Yes.
And you can still see the color variation difference the deeper you get.
Yeah, look at that. There's a pretty strong line there at the bottom.
Yeah, you see one color, then another, and then another.
Yeah. There's a line right here. This is darker, and then this is lighter, and then
it's a little bit darker.
I wouldn't call that topsoil, but
it's the top rock.
The top collection of rocks. But yeah, this is the waffle cell, and I don't think this comes out on camera at all. So let me set the camera down, and this will make it more clear. So when I ran the elevation, this is the low spot of everything that goes this way for 100 yards, and this is at least 4 inches below every single point on the lip. And because this spillway is literally 25 to 30 feet wide, it's got a lot of room for the water to come down here and flow without tearing this thing up and turning it into gullies. I've only had time to build one and measure and verify with the transit that everything's correct, but the next one will go 100 yards that way, and then we'll just keep building them roughly every 100 yards. That way, one, we understand better how the water's collecting, because we'll be able to tell which cells are filling up, so maybe more of the water's coming from there than over here. But if and when this does overflow, it'll completely fill, flood into the next cell, flood into the next cell, flood into the next cell, and that way we're keeping as much water in one spot as possible, and only when it overflows, then do we send it downhill.
And look at this, kind of reverting back to the people that are all upset about us tearing up the desert. You know, we've drove through here and done some work, so we did get rid of some of this.
Yeah, just I can't turn around with the subsoiler, so I had to ruin some of the
Yeah,
annuals.
but this didn't take long. I mean, there's so much more growth here than it was, because it was a big trench right here.
Yeah.
But like all of these flowers, like 2 weeks ago or before the subsoiler came through, this whole area was full of it. And the desert olive, this thing did not look like this prior to. It was a small little shrub, and it's gotten like visually larger.
Yeah, no, it's grown a lot.
And then I didn't want to take that one out, but
I think that's Condalia. Yeah, this is Warnock's Condalia. So you can see the spikes.
oh,
And it doesn't really make a fruit, it makes a drupe that's purple. And
okay.
you'll see it in September or October. It's tasty. It tastes like a clearly artificial grape flavor is what it tastes like.
Oh, okay. So purple flavored Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Well, look at the wood.
Oh, it's awesome. It's got such character, but it doesn't grow too tall, like maybe 6 or 8 feet if you get extreme amounts of water.
I just thought it was cool, so I didn't want to take it out.
Thank you.
I mean, it's clearly in the way of actually doing this properly.
Yeah. It is.
But I was pushing dirt that way to make up for how this juts out. I just saw some movement over there, or something caught my eye. Now I'm interested to go look at the game camera.
One thing we absolutely have to address this summer is the lack of shade. We have hung a sun sail from here all the way to the shipping container 3 times, and 3 times we've had it tear down because of either ferocious winds or dust devils blowing through that literally destroyed camp. So we had a dust devil blow through that was so severe that this 1-year-old R panel has all these holes in it from debris because the wind is so severe, and it took some pallets that used to be up there to give my cabin some shade and threw them from here into the side of Daniel's cabin, where you can actually see where the pallet landed. I'm all done with sun sails. The permanent solution is going to involve using the shipping container and this drill stem that we've mounted vertically on the drill rig doghouse that you see behind it. And what we're going to do is run rafters from here all the way over to the shipping container. And that way we have shade anchored by steel, and that doesn't blow away with the wind. The shipping container itself is a work in progress, and I really hesitate to put this on camera because I know how much everybody hates a mess, but it's a construction site. So this is not done, although we do have everything wired and working, but I have to redo a lot of this DC part. The surge protector needs to go into a combiner box, so I have a little more work to do, and I've decided not to put this off-grid stuff on the channel just because it's not really what the audience is looking for. And it's part of the reason that I've slowed down is that we have a ton of work that we need to do to exist out here. If I put the content on the channel and it hurts the channel, I can't show it. And the whole reason the channel exists is to make the money that's required to put into this project so it can happen. By slowing down the cadence, it lets Daniel and I focus on projects like this that need to happen, but aren't gonna, unfortunately, make it to the show. And if you wanna see the actual updates, well, I put those on Team DUSTUPS when I can't put it on YouTube. But just in case you do want to nerd out on this stuff, I'm going to very briefly explain what we have. We have 2 100 amp hour batteries. We run on 48 volts. There's going to be 2 more sets that go on this shelf and this shelf, which are going to make use of my 12-volt batteries. We're going to combine them into 48 volt and then feed all of that into this, which is a 10 kilowatt inverter. And then that inverter, it runs the wires behind the wall into the AC panel, which Daniel has very graciously taken care of, and that's what's powering the light in here. And then all the power for camp, the power for the water well, the power for welders, the power for absolutely everything on this property is going to come from that panel. And we cool the whole thing using a mini split. That's 12,000 BTUs, and it's only cooling 120 square feet. So it's massively oversized for the requirement, which is what's required to exist out here. And Daniel is running wire. It's the best, most fun job ever.
Yes.
But you may notice that we have it coiled. The reason is that if there's ever any impedance, like from lightning, this helps cancel the signal out. So it's not nearly as bad by the time it gets to the surge protector.
Oh, that makes it harder pulling the wire.
Well, I know you're having so much fun, and in true DUSTUPS fashion, you said, how can I make this more complicated?
Yeah, let's twist the wire and pull it.
And it may not look like a major project, but we currently have our solar panels here, and we want them to be on the pad over this way. And we can use these existing mounts, and they're okay. Like, they're not blowing over or anything. But what we want to do is we want to make a permanent stand on drill stem, because I basically need to double the capacity of those panels. Instead of having them in a line here where they're blocking where I can plant trees to shade the buildings, we instead want them over here, and that will help us do 2 things. One, we can make it out of drill stem where it's really sturdy and it can be up a little higher so we get better shade. And then the second thing, and we can also hang just many, many more of them. Those stands are absurdly expensive for what they are. And we have tons of drill stem, so we should put it to work. The other project that we have ignored for 5 months now is the low water crossing we're trying to build. The reason is the concrete company that gave us all these forms just kind of stopped replying to our messages. They really, really, really wanted us to take all of the rubble like you see over there. And that rubble has absolutely no value to me at all, because I've got plenty of big rocks over here. So the stuff I need are these forms that actually have heft and weight and shape that minimize moving material. So if we can't get the concrete, I apologize for getting excited, but I gotta have a supplier. And no supplier means no doing anything. So the alternative is that a viewer donated Hesco barriers, which the US military uses to build fortifications and blast walls, and they make for an excellent low water crossing. On Team DUSTUPS, that's one of the things that members are voting on, whether they want us to focus next on building the field or on using the Hesco barriers to dig them 4 feet down and then fill them full of material so that it forms a very, very low dam. I will use this lone piece of concrete as an example. Pretend this is a wall. So water hits this and flows over the top, you get that. But what'll happen over time is all this stuff that's carried in the water will just continue to backfill behind the wall. It forms a nice even layer behind the wall. If you think of it as a system, it's a self-healing road where every time it floods, it brings in material, deposits a nice level surface, and the excess water flows over the top. So the low water crossing is a brilliant solution, mentioned by a couple of combat engineers and a lot of Australians in the comments. Read into that what you will, but I think it's a great idea. We just have to make time for all these projects, and we have 2 guys. It's a lot of work and a ton of infrastructure. Everything about being out here, I really want to focus on the desert forest, but a lot of the infrastructure stuff just has to happen in order to exist out here. So I catch a lot of flack for not doing plant stuff 24/7, but it's kind of like military history, where you think of the phrase, amateurs discuss strategy, professionals discuss logistics. It's the same thing here. The comment section is full of permaculture experts, but they don't pay attention to the fact that it takes 150 miles and a lot of equipment to bring out the diesel that's required to make all these things happen. If I don't have roads, I don't have access, and if I don't have access, I'm not building a desert forest. I'm intentionally hiding the poll results where the Team DUSTUPS members are deciding whether we work on the field or on the canyon crossing. I kind of hope we pick the field because we already have the equipment to do that, but the Desert Canyon Crossing is an extremely important project, and if you find that interesting, check out this episode where we try to tame the desert floods with waste concrete.